there, I'm Joyce O'Brien, and I'm a life and health transformation mentor from Long Island. And I had cancer. And it wasn't the kind that could be cured. It was stage 4 cancer. I was told that I had very little time left to live. Cancer became a gift for me because it put me on a path to be able to help other people create a healthy and joy-filled life. So I became passionate about being able to help other people remove blocks at the mindset, emotional, and spiritual levels so that they could create the life that they desired. And I'd like to talk with you today about possibility and choice. I believe that each and every one of us is an amazingly designed healing machine. And when we pay attention to the whispers of our body, mind, and spirit and remove the root causes and then give the body, mind, and spirit and our physical body all the nutrients that we desire, then we open up the space to heal. And that is where choice comes in. I'd like to share with you a story about my first client, me. My husband and I were in our early 30s and we were living the American dream. I was running a $2.5 billion business on Wall Street. We were traveling, having fun, and building our dream home. But before long, our American dream began to shatter. Oprah Winfrey has a quote. She says, "You've got to get it in the whisper. If you don't get it in the whisper, then you're going to get hit with a pebble, and then a rock, and then a brick, and then the whole wall of bricks will fall down on you. And if you still don't get it then the whole house is going to fall down on you, and before you know it, you're going to be in the eye of the storm." Well, we were in the eye of the storm. I remember one day when I walked into the office of one of the women who I worked with on Wall Street, and I slumped down in the chair. She asked, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm exhausted." And she said, "Why are you always so exhausted?" And I thought, So I asked her, "Isn't everyone?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Aren't you?" And she said, "No." That was my whisper. My fast-paced lifestyle had caught up with me. I'd been working 120 hours a week. I was going to college at night and on weekends. I was eating pasta, pizza, candy, and carbs, any that I could get my hands on. I drank 8 to 10 cups of coffee a day. I started work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and on my way into work, I was asleep on the shoulder of the guy next to me on the train. So, those were my whispers. I didn't only have chronic fatigue, I had sinus problems and headaches and migraines and IBS and all these other health issues. And I had been ignoring those whispers. One of those early mornings when I got into work, I received a phone call, and it was from a voice that I didn't recognize. As it turned out, it was my husband, and he had been slurring his words, so I'd actually left him asleep on the couch when I left for work that morning, but he had been out the night before, so I thought, all right, he's a little bit tired, maybe a little bit hungover. And he said, "I feel a little numb." Well, he wasn't numb. He had had a brain hemorrhage and 3 strokes, and he was paralyzed. A year after that, we were so excited because I was pregnant with our daughter, and the doctors thought that she had spina bifida, and they wanted us to abort. As it turned out, I had cancer. I just didn't know it. I was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer when she was just 8 months old. A year after that, my husband found a lump in his groin. And as that turned out, it was stage 3B malignant melanoma, and he was given a 20 to 30% chance of survival. And then a year after that, after I'd been telling the doctors that I had a lump, and they said that it was nothing to worry about, I had pressed them to do a biopsy. As I sat at the kitchen table that night, uncomfortable from the procedure, I received a phone call from the doctor with the worst news of all. The cancer was back. And I just put my head in my hands in complete disbelief, and I sobbed. And my beautiful little baby girl was standing next to me, and she put her chubby little arms up and reached for me to pull down to her. And she patted me on the back, and she said, "Mommy, grown-ups don't cry." And I thought, oh, this grown-up has done more than her fair share. So the doctors told me that it was stage 4, and there was nothing that they could do to save me. And I thought, that's not up to them to decide. So I had a choice in that moment. I could either accept their diagnosis and their prognosis, or I could choose to live. And I chose to live. So I began on a journey of healing. And I began at the physical level, and I did cleansing and detoxing, and got to many of the root causes, and I was juicing and doing all these wonderful things. But it wasn't enough. I discovered that I had to heal at the physical level as well as at the spiritual, mindset, and emotional levels. And when I did that was when I really began to heal. So would you like an update? 16 years later, Kevin is walking. We have a beautiful, healthy, and vibrant 19-year-old daughter, and Kevin and I are both cancer-free. When we embarked on this journey, we discovered that you can be an amazingly designed healing machine. We just have to pay attention to the whispers of our body, mind, and spirit. So now, will you pay attention to the whispers? Ask yourself these questions. Is what I'm doing healthy for me? Am I giving my body the nutrients that it needs? Am I doing the emotional healing work? And am I spiritually fulfilled? And most importantly of all, am I choosing to live?